You ever get that? When you're wrestling with a question and it just feels blurry. Like you need a good lens to really bring it into focus.
It's like our brains think in feelings and big ideas, but AI needs something more specific, right?
Exactly. So less will AI take over the world and more, hold on. What are the specific economic impacts of AI in the automotive industry by 2030? Something like that.
Yes, it's about getting laser focused. And luckily, we have a guide for that kind of mental sharpening.
Lay it on me. What's our source material this time?
It's the Generative AI Professional Prompt Engineering Guide by George Tome. I think you'll really dig it.
Oh, yeah, I've been meaning to get into that one. It's supposed to be the ultimate toolkit, isn't it? For anyone who wants to actually use AI, not just ask it to,
Write poems about their cat.
Okay, guilty, but yes.
Yeah.
Though poems about cats can be insightful sometimes. Anyway, you were saying about this book.
Right. So there's this prompt technique in it that we're going to unpack today called refine and focus a question. Very appropriate.
Ooh, I like the sound of that already. Tell me more.
Imagine you're standing on a mountaintop looking out at the world. There are forests, rivers, maybe a town in the distance.
Okay, I'm with you.
Asking what's out there is too broad. This technique is like having someone point out specific landmarks.
So instead of what are the benefits of AI, which, let's be real, could be a whole other deep dive.
At least.
We get down to brass tacks.
Exactly. We use the prompt to break it down. So instead of that broad benefits question, we might ask, what are the quantifiable efficiency gains of AI in manufacturing? Or, how is AI being used to personalize education?
Boom. Suddenly we've gone from one giant question to, like, multiple starting points for exploration. I like it. And speaking of starting points, you sent me some materials on, mention a specific topic from the listener's sources to prep for this. And there was one question you highlighted that I think we can test this on right away.
Let's do it.
Okay, let's see. You wrote down, insert the listener's question here.
Yeah.
And yeah, I can see how that's a good starting point, but also how it could benefit from, like, some fine-tuning.
100%. Let's try that prompt in action. So instead of that big question, we could zoom in on, say, first refined question, or we could even look at second refined question.
Ooh, I see what you did there. Just by changing the way we ask, now we're getting into the nitty-gritty of mention specific concepts related to the refined questions instead of just, skimming the surface.
And that's the beauty of this. It's not just about finding answers, It's about uncovering new questions that we didn't even know to ask. Like, by digging into those areas, we might find ourselves wondering, new question prompted by the refinement process.
It's like we took a detour and stumbled onto a hidden path just by shifting our perspective a little. Tell her, this refine and focus thing, it's like the Swiss Army knife of critical thinking. You could apply it to anything.
You absolutely can. And it's especially handy in professional settings. Imagine you're in a meeting at, mention the listener's field industry based on their provided materials. Right?
Okay, I'm imagining it.
And you're trying to mention a relevant work-related scenario instead of just throwing out a general question about it.
Which, let's be honest, sometimes just gets you blank stares.
Right. This prompt helps you get laser focused.
So instead of, how can we improve this quarter? Which honestly can feel kind of overwhelming.
Yeah.
You're suggesting something more like, refined question related to improving work performance.
Nailed it. Suddenly you're not just identifying a problem, you're basically guiding the whole conversation towards solutions,
Makes you think of that saying, right?
Right.
The quality of your answers depends on the quality of your questions. But it's not like we all wake up with perfectly formed questions ready to go.
And that's where a technique like this is so helpful. It's like, instead of hoping for the best, you've got a system. You can actually get better at asking those insightful questions.
It's like a muscle, right?
Yeah.
You got to train it. And the cool thing is, it's not just for, like, work stuff or research papers. I'm thinking about just everyday conversations. Like, imagine you're trying to be there for a friend.
Yeah.
Instead of that vague, is everything okay? Which, let's be honest, sometimes gets you nowhere.
Totally.
You could use this prompt idea to refine it.
Exactly. You could say, what's been the highlight of your week? And what's been something that's been on your mind? Something like that.
There you go.
Yeah.
See, you just took it from a dead-end question to something that can actually spark a real conversation.
It's all about digging deeper, And the funny thing is, by learning to ask better questions outward, we can even turn that inward. We all have those big life questions, right? The ones that keep us up at night.
Oh, yeah, those are fun.
But if we can break those down using the same prompt, suddenly they don't seem so overwhelming. More manageable,
It's like Instead of staring at the whole messy forest, we're choosing one tree, one path to focus on. And who knows what we might discover along the way.
That's what makes this so exciting. It's not about having all the answers, but having the tools to find them.
And it all starts with a good question.
So true. Asking the right questions can make all the difference. And on that note, I think we've done some excellent refining and focusing today.
I'd say so.
Thanks for joining me on this deep dive. Until next time, keep those questions sharp.